Pomona Hall, a fully restored 18th century mansion operated by the Camden County Historical Society in Camden, New Jersey, has recently begun offering classes in open-hearth cooking. In the 1700s, the mansion was the home of the region's wealthiest family, and today it still has its large 18th century kitchen. Back then, that kitchen was operated by African American slaves or indentured servants. Today, it's one of the favorite stops on the regular tours of Pomona Hall and the adjacent Camden County Museum and Historical Library. In a test program that proved a success, the Society offered a class for 10 people who wanted an intense, one-day, hands-on experience with open-hearth cooking. They got to work the fireplace, wield iron pots and implements, and prepare the foods for lunch and dinner. And then, they got to eat what they cooked. Midway through the day, we stopped in to talk with Mercy Ingram, the longtime open-hearth cooking instructor who ran the event. We asked her about some of the basics of open-hearth cooking.
What's the most important, non-obvious things about building a good fire for cooking?
The source of your wood and the kind of your wood. You need well-seasoned, meaning it has sat for at least 6 months, nicely split hard wood. Hard wood would be oak, would be hickory, would be any of the fruit woods, apple, cherry. Purpose of the fire is to make coals. You're not cooking over the flames, you're cooking over the coals.
And the biggest mistake people make when they first start doing this with building the fire is what?
Not knowing how to manage a fire, not knowing how to keep it going, not balancing the amount of oxygen the fire needs, the amount of heat, and the structure of the way you add wood to a fire has something to do with how it burns.
In terms of the cooking itself, how different are the concepts of cooking on my electric home range and the concepts of cooking the same meal here on this wood fire?
They are absolutely identical. The only thing that's different is I don't have a dial here to control the heat. I have a whole lot of other things I do to control the heat. But cooking food is the application of heat. And this is heat just like your stove at home is heat.
So instead of moving a pot around the top of the stove, you're moving coals around the bottom of the pot.
Yes, yes. And I'm also controlling how many coals. I'm also controlling whether I block the heat with another piece of wood or not. If I had ashes, I would be piling ashes on if I want to reduce the heat and adding oxygen, fanning it, using a little, bellows if I wanted to increase the heat. I would be adding small pieces of wood to increase the heat and large pieces of wood to decrease the heat. So these are all pieces of knowledge, but it's no different than dialing your stove up and down.
Tell me the menu for today. What are we cooking?
We're having mushroom soup, which is a southern recipe from the Shirley Plantation down south. We have already started our chicken, which is roasting on a string. We've stuffed it with apples and onions and some herbs from the garden. We are making a brown bread pudding that we're going to cook in a pudding cloth. We're going to be making a Dover cake, which will be leavened by beating the eggs for an hour with a birch whisk. And we are also roasting some sweet potatoes by the fire.
And how much of what we're cooking or the way we're cooking it today is similar to what they would have done in this very same kitchen 250 years ago?
Oh, the same. The recipes are 250 years old. We're not making SpaghettiOs here. We've done our homework and we've looked in the old books. So this is where the recipes come from. They could have made these foods here.